Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation with the title Managing Financial Risk, Optimizing Operations, and Making Data-Driven Decisions using Dynamics 365. My name is Goodluck. I'm a Content Syndication Executive from Reliance Infosystems, and I'll be your anchor for today. With me on this call, I have certified Microsoft Dynamics specialist Ahmad and Chidima, who will take you through all you need to know about finance and operation using Dynamics 365. And on today's webinar, we are going to talk about Dynamics 365 ecosystem, the finance, the supply chain, the human resources. Then we will do a little demonstration on all of them, and after which we will take your questions and answer it. In case you have any question during the course of this webinar, kindly use the Q&A section, drop all your questions, and we will attend to all of them. But before we begin, I would like to introduce our organization, who we are, why we are here, and why we are qualified enough to have this conversation with you. Reliance Infosystems is a leading ICT organization, and we are headquartered in Lagos, Nigeria, with footprints in Ghana, Botswana, Kenya, Pakistan, United Arab Emirates, and we are digitally present in 22 countries across Africa and Middle East. And what do? We help businesses to achieve their goals using technologies and the success strategy from Reliance Infosystems. Talking about success, we have what we call our success outcome philosophy. Here, we believe in winning with our customers. And in so doing, we know that your pain point is our pain point, your success story is our success story. In Reliance Infosystems, we have these three pillars. We call it our core pillars that helps us to achieve these engagements. We have the business transformation pillar, we have the operational excellence pillar, and we have the protection assurance pillar. I will quickly touch on each of them. Business transformation, here we help businesses to transform digitally, thereby helping them to lower their costs and improve efficiency. And in also doing that, we help them to maximize their productivity. And we use this following solution to achieve all this. We have the identity and access management solution. We have enterprise voice and collaboration. We have the data center automation. We have enterprise storage, to mention but a few. With these solutions, we are very much sure that you achieve more and accurate results, and also it will help you to translate higher automation. So when we talk about operational excellence here, we talk about people, we talk about data, we talk about systems and all how they interact with each other to achieve an automated production process. We have these following solutions that help us to achieve that. We have the modern ERP solutions, we have the data platforms, we have digital advisory, and we have business intelligence. Protection assurance. We all know that data is the lifeblood of every business, and in so doing, we sell rest of mind as a service to you. We try to make sure that when you go to bed, you are very much having faith that your data is secured. And we use these following solutions to achieve this. We have the gateway protection, we have the governance and compliance, we have advanced threat protection, and we have security intelligence. In Reliance Infosystems, these success strategies has helped us to achieve certain capabilities and competencies in most of the Microsoft offers that we have. It has also helped us to achieve advanced specialization in adoption and change management, modernization of web applications to Microsoft Azure, the meeting rooms and calling for Microsoft Teams, and the low-code app development. In addition to that, Microsoft has recognized us as a country partner of the year, and we were recognized in 2017 here in Nigeria, 2020 in our sister company Cloudwell, which is in Ghana. Then currently we are the Microsoft country partner of the year this year, 2021 in Nigeria. And also Sophos has recognized us as the country partner of the year, 2021 here in Nigeria. This is in a nutshell who we are, why we are here, and why we are qualified enough to talk to you and discuss about certain things in how you can manage your financial risk and also make data-driven decisions using Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation. Please kindly note that if you have any question at all, you can use the Q&A section drop all your questions and we attend to that. And if you have any audio challenge or video challenge during the course of this webinar, also let us know using the Q&A session and we will attend to that. On this note, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Ahmad, who will take us through the business for today. Ahmad, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good luck for that introduction. My name is Ahmad Abdulkadri. I work as a business consultant with Reliance Infosystems, and today I'll be taking you through how you can manage your financial risk, optimize operations, and make data-driven decisions using Dynamics 365. And I would like to start with the Dynamics 365 ecosystem. On your screen here, I have the first party line of application for Dynamics, and I have the ERP application across finance and operation, human resources, commerce, and also the CRM application or the customer engagement, marketing, field service, customer service, sales, and we have a seamless integration across Cortana Intelligence, Power BI for your dashboard and analytics, as well IoT, App Source if you need to source for app to extend your application, also Power Apps, Power Automate, Dataverse, and there's also a seamless integration with Office 365. Here, this is what we know as the digital feedback loop. And at the center of all these applications, we have data and intelligence. Data is a strategic asset to companies. And with this, you're able to empower your people, transform your products, and optimize your operations and engage your customers. For today, we would like to talk about Dynamics 365 Finance and how you can manage financial risk and make data-driven decisions with the application. But it is also important that we talk about, a comparison between Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation and Business Central, because both are the flavor of ERP within the Microsoft Dynamics suite. So we have on your screen here a form of comparison between both applications. If you're thinking of which application is right for you. In terms of size of business, finance and operation is geared towards large enterprises. And by definition, large enterprises are enterprises with about 250 employees and more. Small and medium scale enterprises would go for Business Central instead. With respect to the number of users of the system, if you have about 150 plus, you're good to go for finance and operation. For Business Central, if you have lesser than that, you should opt for Business Central. And that brings us to the minimum number of license. There's a license requirement, which is 20 full user license for finance and operation. And in the case of Business Central, you can start with one. In terms of functionality, finance and operation has the advanced warehousing functionality, and Business Central does not. If you have a complex warehouse system, you should go for finance and operation. With respect to volume, finance and operation can handle volume. Business Central is not able to handle volume. And down here, you have a list of common features between both application. When we talk about multi-site, multi-currency, multi-legal entities, and the number of legal entities you could have, they both have the same. But these are some of the features and some of the differences and similarities between both flavors of the ERP. Like I mentioned earlier, the crux of our discussion today would be around Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation, and how you can manage your financial risk, optimize operation, and make data-driven decision with the application. First, I would like to start with Dynamics 365 Finance. On your screen here, I have the finance path, and typically in the finance process, you'd start from either accounts payable or accounts receivable, and this part will take you through the ins and outs of the finance journey, from vendor management and payment or customer management. customer account management, and your credit and collection. And all of these points lead to a single point, a meeting point, which is the cash and bank reconciliation. And that would lead you to the part of, the financial officer who is interested in having a report in their profit and loss. Hopefully it would be a profit. And down here we have what we know as digital hotspots, which is key within this journey. So what we call digital hotspots correlates back to areas with which Microsoft is adding more agility into our business, and these are areas that are prone for improvement through the use of automation, intelligence, and areas that are prone for digitization, right? So across the different spots, accounts receivable, accounts payable, chart of account, cash and bank, we have all these: electronic invoicing, payment insight, credit checks online. And Microsoft has done a good job, to infuse intelligence and automation across this digital hotspots. On your screen, I have some of the challenges that we have identified when we talk to customer CFOs. There's a challenge of having legacy systems that date back to years, and that would lead to customers not being able to drill down to find insights into their data, and that's because they still use static reporting. There's also the problem of inadequate tools to anticipate growing business complexity. There's also the challenge of manual, inefficient, and error-prone processes. People are good at what they do, but due to human error, some of these mistakes still happen. And there's also the problem of increasing regulation, risk, and threats. With Dynamics 365 Finance, you're able to monitor your financial operations in real time. You're also able to predict outcomes and make data-driven decisions to drive business agility and growth. And at the center of it here, you would see Dynamics 365 Finance. It infuses automation, intelligence, and trust into your business. Microsoft is big on security and compliance, and they have met with a lot of compliance and security requirements for most countries. Here, I have some of the features in Dynamics 365 Finance. Across the business processes, you're able to handle them with Dynamics 365 Finance. You have your procure to pay, quote to cash, record to report, plan to perform, and your taxing. And we have all these different modules that are responsible for that within the application: your general ledger, accounts receivable, accounts payable, cash and bank. And across all these different modules, to perform your financial process, we have a tight integration. Dynamics 365 Finance gives you these 3 points that I've noted earlier: automation, intelligence, and trust across all the modules within the application. My colleague Chidima would be showing you a demo of some of these features in real time, right? So these are some of the features that you get from using Dynamics 365 Finance. You're able to enhance your financial decision making. You're able to unify and automate your business processes. It gives you a strategic impact and reduce cost, and decrease your global financial complexity and risk. Quickly, would look at how Dynamics 365 Finance does all this for you in your business. It helps you enhance your financial decision making by helping you to close your books faster and simplify financial management. With the robust close period functionality of the application, periodic close rather, you're able to quickly close your books at the right period. You're also able to accurately project your cash flow, reliably predict customer payments, and you're able to quickly adapt with intelligent budget proposal with the budgeting module of the application. It also helps you to unify and automate your business processes. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the problems facing customers nowadays is the issue of having a single source of data. Customers have them siloed. With Dynamics 365 Finance, it provides you with a single source of data for business intelligence, and there's a seamless integration between Office 365 and other Microsoft stack. So with that, you're able to come up with intelligent insights and make data-driven decision in your business. You're also able to automatically process vendor invoices, and that would save you some time and labor cost. We have the invoice matching policies within the application. You're able to set that up. Also, you're able to effectively manage credit risk and collection. We have a credit and collection module in the application that is a robust one. Also is that it gives you strategic impact and reduce the cost of running your business. You're able to rapidly deploy new subsidiaries, or if you have new legal entities to onboard, you can do that quickly in a matter of hours without having to start from scratch. It also helps you if you're running your business in a subscription-based model. Using a subscription-based model, we have the revenue recognition module of the application that would accurately help you run your business, and ultimately it helps you to increase your workforce productivity with integration with the Office 365 modern workplace. There's a tight integration, and you're able to embed some of these things, embed your application within Office 365, your teams, and all that. It helps you to decrease global financial complexity and risk by letting you quickly adapt to changing regulatory requirements, meeting with local and global business needs, and also minimizing your need for customization via Power Platform, which is the low-code, no-code platform. If you need to build an app to quickly extend, you're able to do that. At this point, I'd like to hand over to my colleague Chidinma to show you a sneak peek of what you can achieve with Dynamics 365 Finance application. If you have any questions during the course of the presentation, feel free to drop it in the Q&A chat. Over to you, Chidinma.
Okay, thank you very much, Ahmad, for that insightful session. I'll be sharing my screen quickly to showcase some of the functionalities of Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, which is the topic of discourse today. So before I proceed, I would like to first of all do an introduction to this interface that you see right now. So Dynamics 365 is a cloud-hosted environment, like my colleague mentioned earlier, where you're able to deploy your solution and have access to it via your mobile phones, your web browsers, your laptops, your desktops, wherever you are actually connected and able to carry out your job functions on the go. So I'll quickly talk about the dashboard you see right now. So on the dashboard, we have several tiles, as you can see, and these tiles are really workspaces that allow you to sort of get quick access and overview and insight into all the activities that you're performing within the application. So you're quickly able to log into the application, and if you're someone who needs access to the bank management application or workspace, you quickly have access to that. It's important to note that Dynamics 365 is a role-centric application. What this means is that all of the workspaces you see right now are as a result of the fact that I work as a system administrator within my organization. However, if I'm not a system admin, I would have access to limited workspaces. So for instance, the salesperson may only have access to customer invoicing. On the top of the page, you have the search bar that you're actually able to use to quickly search for any items that you currently need to work on and take action on. And once you're able to find that item, you're quickly able to log in and go into the system and carry out these functions. On the left, we have the ability to switch to legal entities. So I'm going to quickly explain what a legal entity is. So imagine that you have several business subsidiaries. Like my colleague mentioned earlier on, finance and operations is typically for organizations that have different business processes and actually have different subsidiaries within the organization that have different business processes. So you're able to set up these legal entities and then create all their chart of accounts, their main accounts, the general ledger accounts, as different accounts within the application and run the business processes separately. If you also need to consolidate those processes, you be able to create a legal entity that would be used for consolidation. So so here the action center is really where you get notified if you have any work items that are pending. I'll talk about the work items shortly. It's not just about work items. If you're running a transaction and you run into an error or it's successful, you actually get notified here. With the settings, you're able to personalize the look and feel of the application and really set it to what you really want to see when you log in. You're able to change the color. You're able to change, specify if you want to receive email notifications for workflows. You're able to quickly record tasks. So this task recorder, imagine that you're really new to the system and you want to share some form of task guide to your users. So you want to teach them how to create a sales order because they're not familiar with the system. You can use the task recorder to quickly create a sales order that you would quickly share across your organization, and they're able to upload this task recorder, follow through with the steps and have more insight as to how to perform their task. With the mobile app, you're quickly able to publish all of this workspace that you see right now into a mobile application. So once you download the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations application, all you need is the URL that you use to log into the application, and then based on the roles that you've been assigned within your organization, you're quickly able to go into your mobile application and access the workspaces that are related to your roles. To the left, we have what we call the navigation bar. So this is really where you have all the modules. So my colleague mentioned earlier how Dynamics 365 is a connected system. You have all your functionalities within Dynamics 365, ranging from your sales, your purchases, your supply chain activities, your financial activities, even your human resource activities. You're able to carry all of that out within the application. You're also able to quickly, so for instance, these are like the system takes record of all the recent actions, just in case you don't want to have to go into the modules to look for the action you're trying to perform within the system. It takes note of your recent actions. You're also able to make these actions favorite, so you can also log in and then quickly go in and select any of these items as your favorite items. So one thing that is very important with any ERP application is the ability to specify the ledger account and how transactions would be posted within the application. So within Dynamics 365 Finance, we actually have the general ledger, which is like the backbone of the application, where you're able to specify your main accounts, you're able to specify your financial dimensions, which will be used for reporting. Within the main account setting, you're able to set up what main account type, if it's an assets account, if it's an equity account, a liability account, you're able to set all of that up. And with the main account category, you're able to quickly use these account categories when you want to create some form of financial reporting within the application. There's a very robust financial reporting functionality within Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. So you're able to quickly generate financial reports. You're also able to quickly turn around the time that it takes for you to pull out these reports within the application. So the chart of accounts is really still speaks to the main accounts. But what this means is that because Microsoft understands that you actually may have different legal entities within the application, you have the ability to either create a shared chart of accounts, which is what I just showed you right now, or you're quickly able to go into the application, specify a different chart of accounts for a different legal entity, and then you can see it across all the legal entities, assuming that legal entities actually share the same main accounts. You're also able to quickly close your period in record time by having some form of analytics on the financial period close workspace. So the financial period close workspace allows you to basically go into the system and quickly assign tasks that are tasks to people who are responsible for closing those tasks. So for instance, there are pending sales order invoices that are yet to be posted, there are general journals that are yet to be posted. You're quickly able to go in and assign all of those tasks to your employees. So right now you can see that, for instance, April Stewart has about 10 or 15 tasks remaining, which means that for the financial period close, she has only completed 5 tasks, and you are able to quickly reach out to her and notify her that she needs to go back into the application and look at all the pending tasks and complete this task. You're also able to set up your bank accounts. So within the finance and operations application, you're able to set up your bank accounts and map the main accounts that you would use to transact with these bank accounts. You're also able to perform account reconciliation within the bank accounts. One of the interesting features of finance and operations as well is the ability to perform the automatic bank reconciliation. However, if you need to be able to do this, you need to configure it under the advanced bank reconciliation functionality. So you need to enable the advanced bank reconciliation to enable you perform some form of automatic bank reconciliation. With the budget planning, you really have access to specify budget for all your accounts, your revenue accounts, your expense accounts. And then once you specify all of these budgets, you're quickly able to go into the system and see some form of information. So for instance, if I go into the actual versus budget tile, I'm actually able to see what percentage of my budget I have used. So I'm going to run a quick report right now just to show how you're able to quickly tell the percentage of the budget that you've used for your financial period. So because I do not have any information or any data right now for 2021, I'm just going to run this report for a period that I know that I actually have some financial data in. But while this is still coming up, I would also want to talk about the collections, credits and collections module. So Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations actually has a robust collection module that enables you to quickly send out. So you imagine that you have customers who their invoices are overdue. You're quickly able to send out collection letters using the batch job feature. So the batch job goes in and looks for customers that have invoices that are overdue, and you're quickly able to send out collection letters. And based on the sequence, so the customer knows that when I receive the first collection letter, I don't have any fee or any charge. When I receive the second one, it comes with an interest fee of about $20 and the like. So you're quickly able to specify that. So I'll come back to this budgeting report that I was actually trying to show earlier. And you can see that from this report, I can actually tell what percentage of my budget has been used across all the different accounts that I have specified. So here you can see that for this advertising and expense, I've actually used about 91.74% of my budget. However, if I need to, if for any reason I exceed my budget, when I'm processing transactions, the system is also able to notify me that my budget has been exceeded. So with the credits and collections functionality as well, you have the credit management functionality where you're actually able to specify different scoring groups, how you're able to score your customers. You're also able to classify your customers into different risk groups. And for instance, you have payment terms, and the salesperson for any reason goes into the system to change the payment terms for your transaction. The system is actually going to put that sales order on hold and wait for some form of feedback or release, wait for the credit manager to go into the application and release that sales order before you're able to process that transaction. You're also able to quickly manage your fixed assets within the application. So for instance, a fixed asset manager can quickly come into the application and see what fixed assets that are pending to be acquired. You're also able to see fixed assets that have been disposed. You can create a depreciation journal. So you're also able to purchase your fixed assets either using a fixed asset acquisition journal, a purchase order. You're also able to dispose them using sales orders and the likes within the application, because the system actually integrates your fixed asset module with your sales order module and your purchase order module. So you're able to quickly do all of this within the application. You have a lot of analytic reports within the application, which is one of the very interesting features of Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, the fact that it integrates seamlessly with Power BI. So this integration with Power BI allows you to quickly come into the system, have an overview of how you're faring across all the different modules based on the data that you've populated within the system. So for instance, this is a cash flow forecast for this legal entity that I'm currently logged into. So I'm able to see my daily forecast. I'm also able to see my inflows and outflows based on my accounting currency. I would also like to talk about the accounting currency. So within the application, you're able to set up different currencies. You're able to set up your accounting currency and your reporting currency. So the accounting currency, you're able to specify what currency would be used to log all your transactions, and then you're also able to specify which currency would be used to report all your transactions, and then you're also able to specify different currency exchange rates and connect your application to a currency exchange rate provider, so you don't have to manually change the exchange rates when exchange rate changes per period. So I would want to quickly showcase what I was talking about earlier, how if you create a transaction and the salesperson changes the the salesperson changes the payment terms on the sales order, how the system will quickly notify and turn around the time for processing that transaction. But before I do that, I'd also want to highlight that there's an expense management functionality within the application where you're able to quickly manage your expense and put in your expense reports, put in your cash advances. You're also within the workspaces. Also, you have some form of analytics that shows you all the total expenses within your organization, and you're able to quickly make some informed decision out of that. So at this point, I'm going to try to confirm this sales order, where based on the parameters that I've set up previously, I'm able to see that I'm not able to process this transaction because I've changed the payment terms. So I think it's taking some time because of my internet connection, but I'll just go back and quickly continue to talk about the expense management and come back to this. So the expense management, like I was saying, gives you the ability to quickly track all your expenses across your legal entities, and then you have some form of analytics to show you how you're faring within your organization. I'm going to try and go back, but if this doesn't work, then I'll hand over to my colleague Abisola, and just before I begin my next presentation, I'll showcase it before the next presentation. So I would hand over to Abisola right now to take us to take any question and answers that we may have in the Q&A section of the live webinar. Abisola, over to you.
Thank you, Chidima. Thank you, Ahmad, for this session. So we're just going to run through some questions that we have in the Q&A section, and then we'll just get answers from them. So the first one here is, what suitable business intelligence tools can be integrated with Dynamics 365 ERP for data visualization? Should I take that again? Suitable business intelligence tools that can be integrated with D365 ERP for data visualization. Ahmad, would you like to take that?
Yes, please. Thanks, Abisola, for that question. So we have, a lot of business intelligence tools at our disposal. Dynamics 365, has a seamless integration with Power BI. So on top of it is Power BI, right? So we have like a placeholder for Power BI already, being that it's one of the Microsoft stack. So Power BI all the way. We're also able to, integrate with other BI tools, Tableau and all, but recommendation would be Power BI.
Okay, thank you. Next one, we have the strategic benefits that D365 has over SAP and Oracle. What's that edge that D365 has over all the other ERPs?
So we, as part of today's webinar, would also talk about that in the coming slides. But some of the key differentiators of Dynamics 365 over other competitors would be, number one, seamless integration with other Microsoft stacks, Office 365, right? So it shares the same identity, the same configuration, the same security. Right, so then another key differentiator for Microsoft Dynamics 365 over competitors would be the shorter time to value. You find out that, to run a typical SAP project or Oracle project, it takes like, years in some cases. But for Dynamics 365 Finance, it takes, a very, very short time. So for now, I would mention those two, seamless integration with other Microsoft products, Teams and all that, Outlook, and also shorter time to value. And there's also the benefits of relative ease to configure, right? So you can just, the configuration is very much easier for Dynamics 365 Finance.
All right, thank you. So still looking at configuration and things like that. When we talk about exchange rates that have been oscillating in the last month or two, does the platform manage all of that kind of issues that could arise? So exchange rates moving from one jump to another, percentage increase, would Dynamics 365 be able to manage that exchange rate complexity?
Yes, being an ERP solution, so we have in finance, Dynamics 365 Finance, where we can manage currency if if you trade in multiple currency, right? So an exchange rate, we also have that within the system. And there's also this feature where you're able to manage your realized gains, unrealized gain, right? So for example, you make payment or you procure a particular supply from your vendors at a particular time, and when you're ready to receive the supplies, the exchange rate goes down or goes up, right? So with Dynamics 365 Finance, you're able to track all those gains, and if it's a loss, you're also able to track that within the system.
All right, thank you, Ahmad. So Chidima, just to answer, is a trial balance available in this application, D365 Finance and Operation? So would we have a trial balance here?
Yes, the trial balance report is actually available. I was going to showcase that. It's actually available within the application, and you are able to create different financial dimension sets that would enable you report properly within the trial balance. So if you're able to specify if you want to report on your main accounts and the various business units that you have within the application. So yes, to answer, there's a trial balance report available within the application.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Chidima, Ahmad. So we'll just move over to the sessions now and continue, and then have a hard stop in another 15-20 minutes and take question and answers again. So please just put your questions and answers in your questions in the Q&A section, and we'll definitely take that in the next stop. So Ahmad?
Thank you for that, Abisola. So in this session, we would look at the other parts of Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation, which is your Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management, right? So with Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management, you're able to optimize your supply chain, optimize your operations, and also make data-driven decisions based on the data at your disposal. On my slide here, I have highlighted some of the challenges that are faced by organizations within the supply chain industry or within the supply chain space. One major problem is the end-to-end supply chain visibility, the lack of that, and that's because supply chain process is growing complex by the day. So we need an application that would allow us as business owners to have end-to-end visibility across our supply chain, across the different phases in our supply chain. We need that agility also to meet changing customer demand. Customer demand is always changing, and there's also the problem or the challenge of disparate systems and outdated technology within the supply chain industry, and also workforce empowerment and management, and the issue of business continuity. Businesses are not able to continue in the face of threats and risk. COVID struck, and a lot of businesses were forced to go back to the drawing board for some time. That's a challenge, the challenge of business continuity. So would like to talk about the different phases that we have here, and why an ERP system should be able to monitor and should be able to manage your business through within all these different phases. So these are typical supply chain phases or your product journey. The first stage would be your planning stage. As a business, within the supply chain industry, you want to have a system that will be able to predict demand with AI capabilities and collaborate in real time with your commercial teams to shape your customer demand. You need to have agility to perform supply and demand, production planning as well in real time based on the demand of your customer. Moving on to the next stage, which has to do with procurement. After you have planned for your customer's demand, you've planned based on your customer's demand, you want to procure the material or source the material from the suppliers in the fastest and the most cost-effective manner. And in some cases, you set up new suppliers quickly to ensure business continuity if your old supplier is out of business. So you need to have a system that would help you with this. And moving on to the next phase of the product journey or the supply chain phase that has to do with production or manufacturing, you need a system that would help you to streamline and automate your production on the production floor, and also help you with the allocation of right resources and in terms of equipment and labor to achieve your desired throughput so that you're able to meet up with your customer demand on time. You also need to have the right maintenance program in place so that you're able to avoid costly downtimes to your production line. Right. Moving on to the next phase of the product journey or the supply chain network, the supply chain phase, distribution. Right. So after you have manufactured a product, you want to distribute them across. You want to stock them across your distribution centers globally with the right quantity and mix. So you need a real-time channel inventory visibility across your distribution centers, and your distribution centers need to run efficiently to optimize the picking time and the shipping times so that you're able to meet up with customer demand on time. Moving on, you have your order coming from multiple sources, mobile, online, and in store. Right, so you need an intelligent system that would be able to fulfill your order and automate the fulfillment to meet the customer's demand in a very cost-effective way. And moving on to the last phase, when the product moves to the direct customer, you want to have a system that would help you with the delivery and track help you during the delivery process, that will be cost effective and efficient as well. With Dynamics 365 supply chain, you're able to achieve all this, and you're able to build business continuity through intelligent system and unified system. So your supply chain and your finance processes are well integrated. So across all the different phases of your product journey, from planning to procurement to manufacturing, to distribution, other orchestration, and finally delivery to your customer, the application gives you visibility, it gives you agility, and it empowers your workforce. And in the face of threats, it gives you the strength to be able to continue your business. So we have here is a sneak peek of some of the features or modules within the application. You're able to manage your manufacturing process, whatever manufacturing strategy you're using, process, discrete, lean manufacturing. You have your production control, production reporting, and all that within the application, and the application is able to manage that. So the application is an agile solution that enables customer to create a resilient supply chain by enhancing visibility, gaining planning agility, and maximizing the uptime of your assets so that you're able to operate profitably during disruptions. On high level, these are some of the benefits of the application. You're able to resolve product quality issues and accelerate time to market. You're able to gain planning agility to fulfill customers' demand. You're able to optimize your inventory and logistics, innovate with intelligent manufacturing operations, and also maximize asset uptime and lifespan. Right, on this slide we have how the application helps you to resolve product quality issues and accelerate your time to market. We have a robust quality management and quality control feature within the application, where you're able to test for goods and maybe quarantine them, as the case may be, before you stock them in your bulk area. And it helps you by giving you a competitive advantage. We have the product information management module, where you're able to see your product in real time across all your different channels and your different subsidiaries. My colleague Chidima will be showing us a demonstration of that soon. It helps you by reducing product innovation cost. You have product templates that you could use. If you have products with similar configurations, you're able to spin up and quickly configure those within the system. Compliance is a big deal to Microsoft, and you're able to ensure compliance and on-time delivery. And it helps you by overcoming disruption due to product quality. I mean, if you've run the quality control using the application. The application Dynamics 365 Supply Chain Management helps you to gain planning agility to fulfill customer demand. There are AI enriched forecasting and streamlined sales operation and operation planning feature within the application, and you're able to make use of that at your planning phase, and that would improve your inventory turn by right-sizing product level based on changing customer demand and capacity constraints. You're also able to automate and streamline your production scheduling and also your resource allocation while you're minimizing overtime and improving the utilization of your equipment. Very much important aspect of the supply chain is your inventory and logistics. And with Dynamics 365 Supply Chain, you're able to optimize your inventory and logistics across your different channels. You're able to have real-time visibility. It also helps you by maintaining multiple cost accounting ledgers globally. You are also able to collaborate with your vendors. We have a nice vendor collaboration portal where you're able to extend to your vendors. They're able to respond to RFQs. They're able to work with them in real time, and that would reduce the amount of time you spend during bidding with your vendors, and the system is able to advise you based on available metric that you have set the best vendor to go in terms of quality, in terms of time, in terms of performance and all that within the system. You're also able to optimize your layouts so that you don't overstock your inventory. You're able to specify the capacity. You're also able to keep critical warehouse processes running. We have the warehouse management and also the advanced warehouse management feature. If you use a really complex warehouse system or a simple one, the application has the application is able to handle both. And also you're also able to optimize transportation of your orders with unified insight from multiple systems using real-time freight monitoring and the transportation management module of the application. With respect to your manufacturing or production, you're able to have a real-time overview of your production floor, and you're able to stock with the right quantity. It supports various manufacturing strategies, discrete process manufacturing, lean, and you could have a mix of different strategies, right? The application also supports that, and you're also able to implement sustainable and adaptable manufacturing processes that make use of the AI, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and the mixed reality. Microsoft has the Dynamics 365 guides that you can use with this, and it gives you holographic experience to help you improve safety, increase your efficiency, and you're also able to keep critical manufacturing processes running at high throughput within your business, right? So these are some of the ways with which Dynamics 365 supply chain management, gives your supply chain business or your operation the needed agility, and you're able to make data-driven decision with the application. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I would like to hand over to my colleague now, Chidima. She'll take you through a brief demo into the application. Over to you, Chidima.
Thank you, Ahmad. Thank you very much for that introduction to supply chain. I'll be taking us through a brief overview of some of the supply chain functionalities that we have within the application. I know I stopped at some point where I was trying to showcase one of the credit management functionalities, and I said I was going to come back to that. So at the moment, I have this sales order that has been placed on hold as a result of some of the criteria, the customer's data not meeting some of the required criteria. So generally, the application has a lot of functionalities that would actually help you intelligently manage your operations, and then you're able to quickly make decisions and turn around the time that it takes for you to process transactions within your organization. I would quickly like to talk about the product and information management, which is one of the most important modules within the application when it comes to providing goods and services to customers. So within the application, you're quickly able to set up your products. So if you have different products, if it's a product that is of an item type or a service type, you're quickly able to create that within the application. You're also able to specify your product variant. So imagine that you're an organization that has that sells mobile phones, and for instance, you sell iPhones. So you would know that iPhones will come in different sizes, different models, different colors. You'd be able to specify all of that within the application. And once you specify that, you would need to release. So because the information is really shared within Dynamics for finance and operations, there are certain information that Microsoft understands that needs to be shared across legal entity. So in this scenario, once you're done creating your products, you'll be able to release these products to entities where these products are required to conduct their transactions. So I'm not going to run through this right now. I'm just going to quickly go over to the inventory management, or the warehouse management rather. So finance and operations has a very robust warehouse management functionality. You're able to quickly create your warehouses and break them down into your warehouse sites, your warehouses within those sites. And if you have different locations within those warehouses, you're also able to quickly specify that. And what all of that does is that you're able to use the advanced warehouse management to quickly identify certain spots that you need to quickly replenish your items in. So with the advanced warehouse management, you're able to run the replenishment functionality within the system, where you're able to set up a minimum and a maximum order quantity within the application. And based on the rules that you set up, the system is able to quickly go in and look at how you're faring in terms of your inventory items, and quickly run those replenishment processes that you set up to quickly replenish your stock within your inventory. There's also the inventory management, where you're able to quickly get insights to your inventory. So you're able to quickly process your inbound orders. You're quickly able to process your outbound orders when it comes to transfer orders or shipments. So imagine that you have several warehouses that you need to transfer to. You're quickly able to process those transfer orders within the application. Another interesting feature is within the inventory management is the counting journals. So imagine that you have to perform some form of physical counts in your warehouse locations. You're quickly able to use the counting journals to generate like an on-hand quantity for those warehouses that you're performing the physical counts, and log the physical counted items against those counting journals. And once you're able to quickly enter the information in these journals, you have a clearer picture of how you're faring in terms of your on-hand inventory and what your physical inventory is within your warehouses. I'd also want to talk about the vendor collaboration that my colleague mentioned earlier. So within the vendor collaboration, you have the ability to create your vendors as users within the application. So what this means is that, for instance, you have a vendor and you would like to quickly get the vendor to respond to quotations, or you want them to confirm purchase orders or sales orders, you're quickly able to go into the system, create these vendors as users within the application, and quickly assign the purchase orders or the sales orders. So right now, I have created these two users which went through a workflow process. I would like to also talk about the workflow process, because I know my colleague mentioned a lot earlier how you're able to quickly automate your business processes. So within the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, you have the workflows that actually allow you to approve business documents. So imagine that you wanted to give access to the vendor. You don't need to send out a manual email to your manager to give approvals. You can quickly create the user request within the application. And it's not just for vendor collaboration. Across all the different modules, you have workflows that allow you to automate all your business processes, so that you don't have to manually send out email or print paper for approvals for invoices and the likes. You're quickly able to send out your invoices, and then once the approving authority receives the notification within their email box. So for this user request right now, I have actually received an email notification that says that I need to log into the system. So the user is going to be able to log into the system by clicking this link, and then they will be taken directly to the link where they need to go in and approve that transaction, and they will be able to quickly go in, review the history on the workflow transaction to see if, so for instance, if there are more than one users on the approval or on the approval workflow, you're actually able to go in, review the history of the workflow, see who has approved the workflow documents and at what points. Typically, they're supposed to put in a comment during approvals, but because of the demo purpose, I just left my comments blank. So they are able to see the comments that have been put in by the previous approving authority, and then they're quickly able to take action on that document. So I've created this vendor user. I've actually created one before now. This is another one that I sent to the workgroup. I've created this one before now. And when I go into my purchase order confirmation, I can actually see that I have one purchase order waiting for confirmation from the vendor user that I created. So here you can see that it's currently assigned to vendor 10001, and it's awaiting confirmation from the vendor user. You're also able to send out vendor biddings. So I'm going to quickly switch over to the vendor collaboration portal so that you see what the vendor collaboration portal looks like. What the vendor collaboration, like I mentioned earlier, it's a role-centric application. So only vendors who have access to that workspace would actually be able to gain access and perform the functions that they need to perform within the application. So right here, right now, we have the vendor collaboration workspace. You can actually see that the vendor has access to a bid that was sent out to the vendor earlier on, like I showcased in the previous window. So here, this is the interface that the vendor user is actually going to have. They have purchase orders that are awaiting confirmation. So here the vendor can quickly see that they have one purchase order that is awaiting their confirmation. You also have the ability to see which purchase orders are awaiting approvals and have been. So here you can see on this workspace that I have 4 invoices that have been approved but have not yet been paid to me. So it quickly turns around the time that it takes for you to interact with your vendor, because while all of this is going on, it's possible for the vendors to receive notifications via their email. So you don't necessarily need to put a call across to your vendors to get them to perform actions within the system, but they are quickly able to log into the collaboration portal once they receive an email notification and take action on those items. So I'll stop sharing my screen right now so we can take questions. This is just a brief introduction and an overview of the application. If you want to see more as to how some of these functionalities can help you manage your business processes and optimize your business processes, we're open to having a demonstration session with you where we're able to do an in-depth overview of how the application would help you manage your business processes in the long run. So I'll hand over to Abisola right now to take any questions that we have within the Q&A section of the.
Yeah, thank you, Chidima. So we have quite a number of questions that touch on finance and also touch on supply chain that we just finished. So for starters, we know that Microsoft is very big on the not-for-profit area, the NGO. So someone is asking that, does Dynamics 365 have a bespoke design that caters for that sector, the not-for-profit sector?
Yes, thank you, Abisola, for that question. Yes, there have been, NGOs that currently make use of the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation, and one of the international NGOs that I'm quite sure of is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They currently make use of for Dynamics 365 Finance. So it's very much suitable for NGOs as long as you are running the ERP processes and you need accounts payable, accounts receivable, and HR and what have you, right? So it works for everyone within that have that set of requirements.
Okay, thank you, Ahmad. So I'm going to take you back to the finance and operation side. So there are the questions concerning or around loan management within an organization. So will Dynamics 365 finance and operation be able to manage loans, whether small loans or larger sets?
Yes, so for loan management, out of the box, finance and operation focuses on core ERP areas, and so for loan management, the application does not directly manage that, but we have on AppSource ISV extensions that we could use for that purpose on AppSource, like I showed earlier, and also we're able to customize the application using different means. We could use the extensibility feature in the application, writing X++ code, or we could also use Power Platform, to build a loan management, system within the application. But out of the box, it's a core ERP solution, not a core loan management solution. But we're able to extend the application to meet the requirements of loan management.
Okay, thank you. So moving to another sector of the economy, in the last 3 to 6 months, travel has picked up and people are moving around a bit more. Hotels are opening up, airlines are back in business. So is there a feature that handles travel management companies that deal with either bed and breakfasts or hotels or flights and things like that?
Yes, the application is also able to support that, as long as your process is an ERP one. I can see from the question, the person asked that they currently use Travcom ERP. So being an ERP system, they probably have their books, general ledger, and they make use of accounts receivable, to track their finances and all that, right? So, it would work. And like I mentioned earlier, we have, another flavor of Dynamics 365, and that's Business Central. So depending on how large the company is, that would determine which of the flavors they would go for, either Business Central or finance and operation. So as long as it's an ERP, it's able to handle their business. The ERP application is not just used for enterprises; it's used in across industries. Oil and gas is used in the education sector, is used in health, and what have you. So, if they have ERP processes, definitely Dynamics has a solution for them.
Okay, so last one for this set before we go back into the session. So we've really just thrown out the pros of Dynamics 365 and all of the variants of this solution. Is it possible for us to just quickly touch on the possible challenges that could be faced with using this subscription or a Dynamics 365 license, whether finance or an operation or supply chain? Are there possible challenges that you would likely encounter so that you're mentally prepared for them?
Yes. So one of the challenges, I think it's that is possible during implementation would be, the area of licensing, right? So licensing is a complex part, right? So you need to get the right partner to help you with, to figure out your requirement and give you the right licensing estimate, right? Come to a partner like us, we're able to help you with that. And also some of the challenges we see during implementation would be the challenge of data, right? Users not providing the right data very early at the early stage of the implementation. And aside from that, in terms of user interface, the application is personalizable, it is customizable, and you can basically customize it to show what you want to see as an end user, right? So the application is a very flexible one, and it is very easy to use.
Okay, so thank you. I think that's it for this set. We can go on, and then in the next set, we'll take on a few more questions. Thank you. So over to you, Ahmad.
Thank you. So in the last, for the last aspect of today's webinar, we'll be looking at one other part of the Dynamics 365 finance and operation stack, and that is human resources. So we have Dynamics 365 Human Resources application, and we'll talk about it and how it helps your business grow. You'd agree with me that one of the main challenges faced within the HR domain across all company of different sizes and industry is, employee retention, right? So we have a couple of statistics here that talk about that. 27% of employees expect HR to check in with them at least quarterly. 46% of employees expect performance feedback at least twice a year. 32% of employees said that they need to understand the next steps and actions they need to take to use HR product and services. 56% of typical hire to retire tasks could be automated with current technologies. 84% of business leaders said they need to rethink their workforce experience, and 88% of HR leaders say they need to invest in 3 or more technologies within the 2 years. So we have the statistics at our disposal, and and one thing that we can see from that is the fact that there are expectations from HR, from employees, they have expectations, and how can you meet up with this expectation? We would get to see how Dynamics 365 does that in a bit. So these are some of the trends that we have identified within the HR domain. So one is skills shortage, digital market competition, employee experience, personalization, diversity and inclusion, and also multi-generational workforce, right? So these are some of the trends that are impacting employee retention today. And one key solution to retention of an employee, of high-performing employee, is what we know as the connected employee experience, right? So the connected employee experience, with that, it means a organization being able to, give employee the needed experience, or give them have a connected experience with the company. With that, they're able to retain high-performing, diverse and inclusive workforce. The company is also able to align people to impact by creating the right organizational structure to deliver business results. Employee, by having connected experience, it means that the company is also empowering them, engaging them with programs, and encouraging them to continuously innovate and have innovative programs for them. And with Dynamics 365 HR application, it helps HR professionals to get the workforce insights needed to build a data-driven employee experience across the different hotspots in the HR domain. Talk about organizational management, job and position, employee profile, manager insights, compensation and benefits, employee benefit enrollment, leave and absence, and we also have analytics and Power BI. And if there are features that need to be extended, we're able to extend that as well within the application. So with Dynamics 365 HR, it connects people and operation data to ensure that business can optimize their workforce cost and take better care of their employees. Right, so talking about extensibility, we have Microsoft Power Platform. It's one of Microsoft's tech portfolio, and you have Power BI, Power Apps for your low-code and no-code app, Power Automate for automating your workflow, and Power Virtual Agent for your chatbots. So with Dynamics 365 HR, you're able to quickly extend the application using the Power Platform. Giving employees connected experience, Dynamics 365 HR helps you with that. It helps you to transform your employee experience, optimize your HR programs, improve your organizational agility, and you're able to discover insights about your workforce. My colleague Chidima will be showing you some of this, and some of the nice dashboards and features that we have within the HR application. So these are this is an highlight of some of the out-of-the-box capability of Dynamics 365 HR across organizational management, employee experience, giving them a connected employee experience, compensation and benefits, leave and absence, planning that, and also extensibility, right? So you're able to manage organizational hierarchy, jobs and position, employee profile, and employee related activity. We also have the self-service portal or module within the HR, and so all this gives the employee a connected experience and ultimately lead to higher retention of your employees, and of course it gives them it increases their productivity within your organization. I'll be handing over to my colleague now, Chidima, to give us a short demonstration of the application Dynamics 365 Human Resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ahmad. I'll be sharing my screen to show some of the functionalities that Ahmad just talked about now for human resources. So I'm going to be showcasing the standalone human resource application, mostly because I would like to just show that you have the ability to get on board on human resources, just in case that's all you need to for your business. That is what you really want to manage your business processes, and also to show that there are certain functionalities that are available here, right, that are still available within the finance and operations application. So when I speak to them, you are rest assured that some of the functionalities that I speak to are actually still available within finance and operations. Just like the finance and operations, I have the same dashboard experience within the human resource application, where I have a list of workspaces that I can quickly drill down into to perform certain actions. And it's really dependent on the role that I have within my organization. So if I'm an employee who just needs to come in, put in my leave request, fill out my appraisal journals, all I really need to do is to, all I would really have when I log in is the employee self-service and the business process management. So I won't have access to all of these modules. So I would like to talk about the employee self-service. I'm currently a manager within the application, so I have access to my information, which gives me an overview of my leave and absence request, so I can see my balances for my leave and absence and time of that I have associated with my profile. I'm also able to see tasks that have been assigned to me. If I have any overdue task, I'm quickly able to log in and access that task and quickly close out on it. I'm able to register for courses within the application, courses that have been mandated by my organization to for me to take. I'm able to quickly register for those courses. I'm also able to manage my certificates within the application. So for instance, I can see that this certificate that I have right now expired about 168 days ago. So I'll be able to go in and put in a new updated certificate. I'm also able to schedule my performance review. So right here, I have one pending one appraisal that is in progress. This can either be started by me or my manager, depending on my organizational policies. I am also able to keep track of the various performance goals that have been set up for me within my organization. I'm able to quickly add skills that I've acquired, previous skills, present skills. I'm able to quickly add those skills within my employee self-service. I also have the ability to quickly review what salary I'm being paid and see what the last increase amount is based on the compensation processes that have been run within the organization. I also have the ability to add attachments, maybe certificate attachments or whatever form of attachments that you need to add to support your job functions or your job roles. As a HR personnel, I'm able to go into my personnel management workspace and quickly have an overview on the candidates I'm about to hire. So I've concluded an interview process and I have some candidates that I need to hire. So I can either select, I can either choose to hire them or end the process for their interview. I am also able to see employees that are starting soon within my organization. So these are more or less like analytical information that just gives you an insight to your hire to retire activities. You're also able to view your open positions within the application. So you have, so even if you retire a position, it quickly comes into your open positions and you're quickly able to turn around the time that it takes to fill out those positions that are open within your organization. You have the analytics workspace that gives you an insight to all of the data that you have within the application. So you're able to get insights on your attrition rate, your hiring rate, your employee demographics. You have a lot of insights within the application to showcase that. So for the expiring records, you have once you set it up, you're able to see certificates that are about to expire. And this information is really dependent on the date range that you set up within the application and how you want to see expiring records. So if you want to see expiring records that have expired for 1 year, once you set that up, you're able to quickly see that information. Back to the analytics, you can see here that I have percentage of open positions, percentage of inactive positions. You really have like more insight on the data that you have. So you have insights to the full-time. I'm just going to try and zoom in so that you get more, you're able to see more of what I'm showing. You have an analysis of all the departments you have within your organization. You have a headcount analysis by department as well. You're also able to do some form of analysis on your full-time employees versus your part-time employees. I'm going to quickly go over the leave and absence module where you're quickly able to set up the various leave and absence types that you have within the organization. And once you're able to set up the leave and absence types that you have within your organization, you're also able to specify the months of service. So for instance, your employees are not eligible to time off until they've actually spent about 12 months within your organization. So you're able to quickly set up the months of service that the system would use to then accrue the leave and absence balances to your employees. You're also able to fill out your compensation for your employees, where you're able to specify the fixed compensation, which is like the annual salary that you pay to your employees. And you're also able to specify your variable compensation. So the fixed compensation, with the fixed compensation, you can set up the various ranges for the fixed compensation. So I'm just going to quickly show the one of the fixed compensation plan and how you can specify the ranges within the fixed compensation plans. But while that is still coming up, I would want to also talk about how you're quickly able to set up benefits within the application. So with the benefits management, you're able to quickly set up the kind of benefits that your employees are entitled to within your organization. So if it's the HMO, if it's a dental benefit, if it's an insurance benefit, so for car insurance and the likes, you're quickly able to set that up and get some form of analysis into all of the benefits components and how you set that up within the application. You're also able to do some form of employee development. So you're also able to do some form of employee development where you're able to track your employees' performance, you're able to track your employee performance, you're able to look at your appraisals, open appraisals within your organization, and look at the appraisals that are yet to be completed. You're also able to add skills. So if you have skills that are required for every job within your organization, you're also able to add that up within the application. And then so I'll just quickly show the compensation structure for this. So within the compensation structure, you can actually see that you are able to set up different ranges. So imagine that someone is coming in as a junior employee within your organization. You're able to set up the different salary ranges that will be associated to that role, and then apply the compensation structure to the jobs. So once you set up the compensation structure, you're able to associate those compensation structure to the jobs. On the employee development, you can see here that we have performance journals. So once you go into the performance journals, you're able to see all the performance journals that have been put in by all your employees, and you're also able to see the status of those performance journals and if they've completed the performance journals, and you're able to make more informed decision. You're also able to set up the performance periods. So if you have different performance review periods within your application, you're able to, within your organization rather, you're able to set that up. If you have different review types, so you have appraisal, you have your budgeting review, you have your one-on-one coaching, you're able to set all of that up within the application and quickly associate them with the different performance journals that you'll be creating. You're also able to do some form of skill gap analysis. So based on all these requirements, the certificate requirements, the skill types that will be associated with your different jobs, you're able to do some form of skill gap analysis. And within the organization administration, this is really where you get to set up all your jobs, your positions, and all the components that go into being able to hire an employee and then associate the different job descriptions and their KPIs and setting up their KPIs. So this is where you really get to specify the job description, the job classification. You're also able to specify the compensation that will be associated with the jobs, like I mentioned earlier. So right here, you can see that. And you're also able to perform some form of market survey. So for instance, this account manager, you're able to perform a market survey and then look at what really the range is for across all the different industries for an account manager when in terms of compensation, and you're able to specify that within the application, and you're able to make more informed decision out of that information. So this is just an overview of the human resource some of the human resource capabilities. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're really interested in seeing more in-depth information or more in-depth demonstration as to how all of this would help you manage your business and optimize your business processes, we are quickly able to arrange a demonstration session with you where we are going to be able to talk you through all of the components of the finance and operations and supply chain and HR functionalities, and you're able to see how you're going to use these functionalities to manage your business processes. At this point, I'd like to hand over to my colleague Abisola again to take us through any other questions that we may have within the Q&A session of this webinar. Thank you everyone for listening in.
Thank you, Chidima. So we're just going to run through some of the questions that we have, and please, if you still have more questions, you can drop them in the Q&A chat box. All right, so we're starting off with looking at a question from the future. So can we give a brief overview of what's D365 will be in the future, looking at the technology space, looking at its industry, considering also that organizations are moving from on-prem to the cloud. So can we predict what the future of Dynamics 365 will be in the next, say, 1 year, in the next 5 years? What are the possible inclusions that we can look at?
Thanks for the question, Abisola. Right, so I can see the question around Dynamics 365 the ecosystem. I talked about this earlier, right? So with respect to the ecosystem, we have the ERP and also the CRM application, right, or the customer engagement. So for ERP, we have Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation, which is targeted towards large enterprises. And also we have Dynamics 365 Business Central for small and medium enterprises for the ERP, right? So we also have for HR, my colleague has just demoed that, and then we have commerce that used to be retail for the retail industry. For customer engagement, we have marketing, field service, customer service, sales, and this is for customer engagement within the Dynamics ecosystem, right? So there's this question, the question that takes us into the future. So I would say that for Microsoft, we have some other ERP flavors as well. For example, we have Dynamics Solomon, Dynamics SL, and we have Dynamics GP, Great Plain. But looking at Microsoft future roadmap, Microsoft is not actively, adding any developments to those other two flavors of ERP, and that's because they are not cloud-based solution. Microsoft is the roadmap of Microsoft is towards the cloud, and that's because it's generating a lot of revenue and it's reliable. When COVID struck, a lot of companies moved to the cloud, and so I would say the cloud and the cloud business applications are part of the major roadmap of Microsoft. So that's like a generic answer to that. But if we are talking about specific answer, specific roadmap to the business application. So for example, if you are looking at specific roadmap to the finance business application, so we have on Microsoft documentation the release wave plan. So after like maybe twice a year or 3 times a year, Microsoft has like a roadmap of new features they will be adding into the application, and they have it across all their different products. We could just check online Microsoft release wave plan for the particular product of interest, and would see the specific roadmap we need. But generically, Microsoft is looking at the cloud and business applications that are cloud-based.
Okay, thank you, Ahmad. So let's talk about leasing operations. How would Dynamics 365 handle leasing operations?
Yes, so Dynamics 365 also handles asset leasing operation. So we have the asset management, as part of the asset management capability, we have the asset management module within the application. And Microsoft is a company that has a lot of concern for standards and requirements, compliance, and they have a lot of compliance certification for their cloud. They have the highest with respect to compliance certification. They also meet up with international accounting standard, IFRS 16, the globally acceptable accounting principle standards known in the US. So the asset leasing, Dynamics 365, of course, handles asset leasing, from throughout the life cycle of the lease, from initial recognition to journal entry, terminating the lease, and there is a seamless integration with other components of Dynamics 365 finance as well.
All right, then we're going to move over to something else, still within the scope of what we've touched on. So when we look at business intelligence tools that can be integrated with the D365 for data visualization, can you mention a few of them? What suitable business intelligence tools can we integrate into D365?
Yes, so I mentioned this earlier. On top of the list would be Power BI. Power BI integrates seamlessly with any of Microsoft stack across different Microsoft products. Power BI is like the leading data visualization tool out there. So I would say Power BI, but Microsoft is also, the product is also able to integrate with third-party applications like Tableau. Those are some other data analytics and visualization tools, but I'll say Power BI. I mentioned that earlier. So I'll just like to add to the roadmap that was asked, in addition to the answer I gave earlier. So if you check the roadmap for the products, right? So for example, for supply chain management, Microsoft is looking at improving the asset management they currently have. They want users to be able to get efficiency and transparency when they are maintaining assets that are owned by customers, using the asset management add-in for Dynamics 365 supply chain management. Across the inventory and logistics, Microsoft is looking at giving your business or your supply chain some visibility and resilience and some efficiency with new inventory and logistic features. There's an active development going on the product from the product team. And if you check experience.dynamics.com, you're able to see some of the ideas that customers have dropped for Microsoft engineering team, and they are the ones that they are currently working on based on the number of votes they have received. Across manufacturing, they are also improving the business application. They want to give your business resilience into key manufacturing process. And a pretty new one is planning optimization. There's this new feature, planning optimization, that has like AI capabilities. they have like a new planning optimization engine that you have to like connect from LCS and all that. And across product information management, they also have a roadmap of ensuring that the product master data is complete, and they also want to improve the performance of generating product variants within that module. So these are some of the roadmap and improvements that Microsoft is looking at. Microsoft is also big on AI, artificial intelligence, and they are looking at incorporating AI into a lot of all these modules within their application.
Okay, thank you. So we'll just touch on Dynamics 365 for HR. I'll ask multiple questions together. So is payslip mailed to employees at the end of every month? So do they get that in their email at the end of every month? And then an organization that has a large workforce of employees that say are unlettered and will not use the application in any way, how can the application cater for those kind of people? So 2 questions. Emails, do employees get their payslip at the end of every month? And then for organizations that have, say, unlettered employees or could possibly be like contract staff, would this application be able to cater for them?
Yes, I have the answers to the questions, but I would like my colleague Chidima, she's an expert in HR. I would like her to take the questions. Over to you, Chidima.
Hey, thank you very much, Abisola, for that question. So to answer the question around the ability for the application to send out payslips, this functionality is not immediately available out of the box. However, with the technical team, we can work towards a customization that would allow the system to do this. Finance and operations is an extremely customizable solution where you're actually able to build up, build more modules to add to the functionalities you already have. So with the customizations, it's possible to get this functionality. And to answer for contractors, yes, Dynamics 365 actually caters for contractors because you're able to assign the contractor roles to them, and then they actually have access to the system. And as contractors, I'm sure there are certain documents, certain documents that they need to approve or provide to the organization to enable them continue their roles as contractors within the organization. So they will actually have access to this, like the same interface you just saw right now, but with a limited role to perform all the activities that they need within the application.
Okay, thank you. So let's just move on to audits before as we wrap up the session for today. So is there a platform that manages audit issues? So audit, compliance, all of those kind of issues, would D365 manage that out of the box, or does that have to be customized?
No. So D365 actually has a very robust audit functionality. So you're able to perform your audit functionalities within D365 Finance and Operations. And we also have, so when it comes to your transactions, you're able to perform, we have an audit workbench that allows you to track all your transactions within the application. We also have security audits, which talks to audit logs and tracking security transactions within the system as well. So yes, to answer that question, there's a robust audit functionality within the application.
All right, so the final question for today, manufacturing companies are beginning to expand in leaps and bounds, and economies are very big on pushing the manufacturing sector, so it causes a boom. Would this platform be able to support that industry, since it's an extremely large industry that deals with a diverse set of product solutions or actual physical products?
Yes, so I think I missed showcasing the master planning module and the production control module during my presentation. But yes, it has a very robust manufacturing processing capabilities. You're able to manage be it your lean manufacturing processes or your discrete manufacturing processes within finance and operations. You're also able to do some form of master planning where you're able to quickly turn around the time it takes for you to manage your production orders by creating master planning rules that would actually automatically go into the system and look out for orders that need and plan the orders for you. So there's some form of order orchestration within Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations based on the criteria and the parameters that you have as an organization.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Chidima. Thank you, Ahmad, and everyone from the Reliance team. Just to mention, please would like to ask that you give us feedback. I've dropped the link in the Q&A section. So just click on it on your mobile or your desktop or whatever device it is you're connecting with us from. Please just click on it and respond. 30 seconds and you're done. So wherever it is you're connecting with us from or you've connected today, whether you're here in Nigeria or any of our subsidiary locations in Ghana, Botswana, Kenya, Pakistan, or any of our digital locations, thank you for joining us today. We really look forward to having you again when we have all of these kind of in-depth conversations around solutions that obviously would help in your productivity. So thank you for that. If you'd like to reach out to us, if you want to deepen this conversation, if you're looking to tailor this solution to your environment, just send us an email at engage@relianceinfosystems.com and we'll obviously respond and pick up that conversation. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us today. Bye for now.